Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome back to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a bit about my last week in games, and as always we'll start with another week in EVE Online where we had the Guardians Gala. Now I took part in that a little bit. The Rattlesnake still doing a really good job in the combat sites, probably one of the best PvE platforms at the moment. Now it may get overshadowed pretty soon by the Marauders that are getting a bit of a buff in one of the upcoming patches, and so I'm going to probably go for the Golem. Someone actually also mentioned in the Ishtar comment that I should go for it, so it's pretty interesting. Never flown one. I do have all of the skills ready for the Golem, but because of CCP's announcement, those ships went up from around 1 billion ISK or 1.2 or something like that to almost 2 billion ISK on most of them. So I still have to do a little bit of a catch up in the wallet if I want to keep my balanced situation going as well when it comes to my investments, you could say. And I've got this balance, I also mentioned it in EVE Talk, between my wallet and then Plex and then the goods. All three of these are basically at equal size, roughly, of course. And the advantage of that is that since I don't know where the EVE economy is going, inflation, deflation, sideways movement, I really don't know. I'm basically ready for all of these eventualities. The disadvantage is that whichever gains I make in one category will probably be offset by losses in the other. I'm basically playing on both black and red at the same time at the moment, and it's because I honestly just don't know which way EVE Online is going, and I think we need more CCP announcements for that to happen. Next to the Guardians Gala, I then also jumped back into the Ishtar, which I reworked a little bit, and I did some exploration. I found that it was a very good time to do exploration as more players were busy hunting for Guardians Gala sites. I had a lot less competition out there for the good combat sites in high second, so it's been quite nice just doing some exploration, revisiting the Ishtar, the all-in-one Ishtar, adding a couple of data sites here and there to the mix as well. Super rewarding, very fun. It is my playstyle in EVE Online, of course, fly around and just have fun doing that. And now with the gate transition effect, I mean, I'm really in it, and I'm flying through space, exploring different star systems at my own pace and in my own way. It's really a lot of fun for me personally. For PI, since I'm there as well into the Void region where I have my PI, I've been trying to manage that a little bit. Still one of the planets that's really overproducing one of the items. I may have to do something about the extractors there, but overall that's still just, you know, stuff that I produce and then hold on to, because PI, except for advanced PI materials for structures, are not doing well at the moment. Very low in price range, and that may never turn around. So I'm also seeing that as sort of something that goes towards my stuff pile. It's still something, of course, but it's gonna be very difficult, for instance, to now Plex an account, even if you have 3 characters that are just doing PI full-time, in my opinion. It's gonna be a lot less profitable than it was before the resource crunch that CCP did into the game. And then good news on my BPC business, because in like the first 5 days, over half of the contracts that I set up in Amar were already picked up. So we do have a much better pace all of a sudden. Not sure, maybe perhaps 20 days ago it was like a little bit of a bad period for me to bring in those BPCs there, but it seems to me like business is picking up, and like we're moving product a little bit more quickly. Somewhere next week I'll have a new batch ready, and then I'll have to decide what to do. Perhaps I'll do like a mix of both of them between Minmatar and Amar, but that also costs travel times, not really that efficient, not really sure how to do it. I'm basically still trying to find my routine and my way to keep the blueprint copy business as profitable as possible. And then just a quick announcement as well, next week we'll have a mass test with the fleet formations. Sounds really interesting, especially since CCP has announced, I didn't catch that stream, but I read it on the subreddit. They have announced that you can basically set your formation so that you can have a warping point for potentially one of your ships, like 200 kilometers ahead of the FC warping point, which will become the point where to go to, and that could provide some really interesting tactical possibilities, I think, if all of that works as expected. So that should come on CC pretty soon. Perhaps it's there already, and then we should see a mass test with these fleet formations as well. So looking forward to what's coming next in EVE Online for sure. And then next to EVE Online, I've also been playing some more Path of Exile in the Ritual League. I really have a bad case of altitis, as I've built another character and I'm working on yet another character at the moment. So the one that I built is basically an Inquisitor that goes for arc and then full lightning damage, basically focusing really another glass cannon. But what I find interesting for the Inquisitor is that you can have like the first 3 ascendancies to be very, very offensive. The first one, I think, just like gives me extra crit chance depending on my intellect and my strength, whichever is highest. So I'm definitely trying to focus on those as well a little bit. And then the one after that means that my critical hits ignore the elemental resistances of the mobs. Very, very handy, of course. And I think I'm at like 60% crit chance for my arcs at the moment. And then you have 2 more choices that are also potentially offensive. The first one is to go for Battle Mage, I think it's called, where the attack damage of your main hand weapon, which, you know, in case of a 2-handed weapon, a staff that I'm using at the moment, gets added to your spell power through a certain mechanic or a certain calculation. And then the last one, I still have to do that actually, is that I basically have an aura that also you know, makes me take less elemental damage and makes the people or the mobs within that area take more elemental damage. So that's really something that I thought was pretty unique. I liked how my Fireball Witch Elementalist worked, but none of those ascendancies, except for, you know, extra damage per golem, meant a big damage boost. I mean, it helps with ignites, you know, always igniting is very nice and things like that, but you don't have that raw DPS or damage boost that you do get for all of those Inquisitor ascendancies, and that's really cool. And so I tried that combination. I would say it's pretty nice. I feel like with not that much gear, I did buy one staff that's like really good for the lightning damage, but other than that, I'm just running on very cheap stuff, and I'm like, you know, with a little bit of luck, completely clearing white mobs in a single arc. Super cool. And even in maps, although I'm again not very tanky, I am doing a lot of damage and just basically able to run through these maps super quickly. Very, very satisfying, you know, build that I did. Again, not really enough tankiness to go for the late game, but it was a very, very interesting experience, and that damage potential is definitely there, perhaps with some real late game gear that you can make this work quite easily. It's definitely kind of cool, and yeah, playing an Inquisitor, one of the most reworked classes there, very interesting as well. I think there's a lot of potential in that class all of a sudden too. And yeah, well, that was my week in games, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.